Hello everyone, welcome to the Avaz webinar. Thanks for taking some time out to attend the webinar today. And I am Lalita Nagarajan from the Avaz team, and I'll be taking you through a demo. We'll start with a quick brief introduction to AAC, followed by some of the myths and facts, and followed by a demo of Avaz and its features. So if you have any questions, please type it using the question mark icon on your screen, and you should be able to send out a question, and I'll try and answer it at the end of the session. So let's start with what are complex communication needs. Basically, these are difficulties in speech and language development, and will result in either non-verbal conditions or having unclear speech or single word communication. It is basically an inability to express their needs, wants, thoughts, feelings, ideas, anything at all. And this is our favorite quote, that just because I cannot talk doesn't mean I have nothing to say, because these children have a lot to say, and it is our responsibility to make sure that they have a way to express themselves. And who has these issues? It is children with ASD, which includes autism, Down syndrome, Angelman's, Rett syndrome, etc. Also cerebral palsy, intellectual challenges, developmental delays, and a whole host of genetic conditions, which results in nonverbal conditions. So what is the issue if they are unable to communicate? It basically leads to frustration, primarily due to their inability to express themselves. This can result in temper tantrums and behavior issues in the long term if it is left unattended. Their social interaction becomes difficult because they are unable to mingle with friends, and people often underestimate their potential because they don't know what they are capable of. This results in a lower self-esteem for the child, and his preferences get taken for granted. His intentions and thoughts are often second guessed, and access to education and work becomes limited. And overall, he is unable to achieve his full potential and unable to lead an inclusive life. So what is the solution to it? It is called AAC. AAC stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. This includes all forms of communication other than oral speech, and which is used for expressing thoughts, needs, wants, ideas, expressions, etc. So what are these kinds of AAC? One is called the low-tech AAC, which is like picture boards and communication charts, or PECs, as you may have heard of. The high-tech ones are like Avaz. High-tech is where there is a voice output and there's a dynamic display. So there is a display that can change as you tap, and the low-tech is the one that is static. So what is Avaz as an AAC? It is a picture and a text-based communication app for iOS, that is iPad and Android, and it has been localized in different languages. I'll show you a quick video of Avaz.
Which is your favorite vegetable? Capsicum, mushroom, brinjal, ladies finger, anybody come.
You see, the number of children with speech disabilities in India is incredibly high. And yet, there's very little awareness. I've often spoken to parents and caregivers, and who don't really recognize the capability of children with these disabilities to achieve everything that a normal child can achieve, if only they had the right tools. So Avaz is basically a picture-based communication and learning tool for children with speech disabilities, children with autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, or intellectually delayed development. These children use Avaz to communicate their needs, express themselves, and you can, as a teacher or as a parent, you can use this to teach concepts to the child as well. I can select by tapping this button, and I can select so I can see the word I or see the picture, and I can tap on that. I say want pizza. And then I can tap on this to say I want pizza. We have seen kids who are like 4 at the age of 3-4 using Avaz, and then slowly as the child's capabilities grow, Avaz can adapt to their needs. So if their vocabulary grows, you can add more words to it.
Suppose I want to put the name Asia, so that the child knows the spelling also. ASIA, Asia. ASIA, Asia.
Over the years, in the same app, the child can move from using pictures to using keyboard with audio output.
Because of his vision issues, he's more of auditory learner. Where did you go, Surya?
R.
I.
I. Odisha.
And they also explore, okay? Sometimes they, on their own, they try to explore what is inside this.
In Chennai, Vidyasagar is one of the very reputed organization working for these children in this field. And we found it is very useful. So we have started introducing it as a government program.
Many devices and many softwares are available in the Western countries, but the language is very Western. So that was one more thing where we worked with Avaz to get the pictures in Indian context, the language.
We have customized Avaz for 6 regional languages of India.
Some parents believe that they know what their child is trying to say, so why use an app? But the reality is often they can never get the specifics right.
Most of the parents have this problem. They are not able to identify what happened to the child. Why the child is having a breakdown? Yesterday whole night he didn't have good sleep. So morning he was not able to eat anything. I thought he has got some stomach problem. So I gave him all the options. So are you happy? Are you sad? Are you not well? So he typed the option, I'm not well. Are you in pain? He said yes. I said, which pain? So he said throat. So I came to know that is the problem.
When you give a child the tools to communicate, they will surprise you. They will prove to you that they can communicate not just to you, but to a much broader section of society. And really taking control of their own destiny in a way that you would never have imagined if you did not give that technology to them.
Yeah, so that is to show you what the impact can be. So taking a specific case of Surya from Vidyasagar in Chennai, this is what his mother had shared with us. She said after he started with Avaz, and he's the child who moved from pictures to actually using keyboard, and he's moved on to literacy, as you saw in the video. So the mother said that she actually started understanding him much better as an individual. She understood his preferences. He improved the bonding with his father, because when his father used to come back home after work, he would actually sit with him and use Avaz to talk to him. He became far more independent, requesting for food even in the absence of his mother. He improved his sequencing skills. His access to education and language development led to literacy. His social interaction with peers was much better, and he had academic progress. And I have seen that he has actually developed literacy over the years. And it has also boosted his self-esteem and his confidence. So this is the Avaz story, where we began in 2007, and now after 12 years almost, we have now got a lot of international recognition, including India's National Award from the President in 2013. We have also released Avaz in several international languages and in Indian languages, and the latest one being in Bangla. It is released just a few days ago. And we have more than 50,000 users worldwide and more than 10,000 users in India, 7 apps in different languages, and used in more than 50 countries worldwide. It's available for iPad and Android. And the main thing about the Indian app is that it has vocabulary in 6 Indian languages, which is not present in the international versions. The pricing is 8,000 for lifetime purchase, 300 per month, or 3,000 per year. Those are the subscription versions. This is a partial list of schools that are in India which are using Avaz across India. So I want to quickly go through some of the myths that surround AAC, that is augmentative and alternative communication. One of the most important is that AAC reduces motivation to attempt speech. So this is something that most parents are concerned about, but you don't have to worry because AAC, it's been proven with research that it does not impact speech negatively. On the other hand, it actually facilitates the development of natural speech. And we've seen that with many parents who have shared their experiences with us in the groups. The second myth is that AAC should be introduced only after giving up all hopes of natural speech. Well, absolutely not, because it should be offered at the earliest along with speech therapy, because we also do encourage multimodal communication. And besides that, AAC actually improves emotional, social, cognitive, and behavioral areas. And denying a child AAC actually regresses the child in all these areas. So it is always good to introduce them at the earliest. A young child is not ready for AAC. That's the next myth. So there has been research that has proved that infants, even children with the age of 1.5 years old, can be introduced to AAC. In fact, infants start with purposeful communication even from 6 months of age. So then there are no prerequisites required for a child to begin with AAC. Another myth is that should low tech be introduced before giving high tech? That means should you introduce PECs or some kind of picture charts or communication boards? That's not necessary. It has been proven that children can be directly introduced to AAC without going through a low tech medium. And the ability to express basic needs, does it mean that AAC is not required? So, well, the fact is that communication goes far beyond requesting. It's not restricted to just requesting. It actually helps him to express himself in so many other ways, and which leads to an all-round development because he's able to express himself and his thoughts, his feelings, his ideas, etc. So, all in all, the child actually deserves the right to communicate. And it's not required that they have to start reading or writing before they start talking. You can start introducing them right away as soon as he's ready to start using an app. Okay, so let me get on to the features of Avaz and show you a demo. I'm just connecting. So this is the Avaz screen. As you can see, it is a full-featured AAC app, and it is used for communication. It has a picture and keyboard modes. This is the picture mode, and if you tap on the top left corner, it is the keyboard. So this takes you to the keyboard mode. Pictures. This is the picture mode, and the pictures actually have 3 levels of graded vocabulary. It has getting started, basic, and advanced. And as you can see, there are a bunch of all these different languages. Each one has recorded audio in that language. The vocabulary may be limited, but it has recorded audio. Now, the getting started has about 50 words. Getting started. So this is how a typical screen would look. As you can see, there are different colors, and each of the colors stands for a specific part of speech. We follow what is called the Fitzgerald color code, where green is for actions, blue is for adjectives, yellow is for people and pronouns. Things are in orange. Go back. So, etc. People. So each of them, at the bottom, these are all folders which are shaped differently, and they have a green background that we have following that as a convention. So the getting started vocabulary has about 50 words. The basic has about 200 words, so it has more subfolders. Go back. And the advanced has about 2,000 to 3,000 words, and it has a lot more subfolders and categories. Categories. So as you can see, there is a lot of categories: personal stuff, animals and birds. Tools. Go back. So it's a lot more academically oriented as well. So Now here we have also something called the quick folder.
Quick.
Where you can have quick communication. So if the child wants to say,
I want to go to the toilet.
So that's a quick communication. And these are all
Clear.
ready to use phrases that he can use straight away. And the main difference between India app and the international app, there are 3 ways in which it differs. So one is there are language related folders. So if you can see a quick
Hindi.
Like in Hindi, if there is pain, dard. So you can go here.
चेहरा, मेरे आंख में दर्द है, मुझे कान में दर्द है.
So this is how you we have actually programmed it for each of these languages, and we have recorded audio for each of them. It doesn't have the full vocabulary as I mentioned, but this is just to give you an idea of what the capabilities are and how you can use it. So one is the Indian language folders. The second is the Indian voice. So the English is accented with as an Indian accent. And the third is there is culturally relevant vocabulary, which means you have things like Diwali and foods. So all of those are available. So if you take a look here, you can even see the food items.
Eat.
We have
lunch, dinner.
So we have curd and chapati, dal, etc., which is very Indian, based on Indian food and cuisine. So this is basically the differences.
Go back. Clear.
You double tap to clear. Yeah. Now this is so you can go back. You can use the home button to go to the home screen. And then so let me see.
Basic.
If you want to form a simple sentence.
Delete.
You just tap. I. Let's say I want to say I want a pizza.
Want.
I want, and then I go to the eat folder.
Eat.
And I can say I go down to snacks.
Snacks.
And let's say I tap bread by mistake.
Bread.
Okay. Now I can immediately tap the mistake button.
I made a mistake.
To say that I made a mistake, and I can correct it. So it'll take some time. And then I can come back. I can do a delete and then come back to pizza.
Pizza.
And then tap the message box to speak.
I want pizza.
Yeah. So this is how I can form a sentence, and I can read it out aloud by tapping the message box on top. Now, if I
want pizza.
If I want to share this message, I can just tap this icon on the right, which is a mail. So I can send this by mail to whoever I want to. Now, in the case of Android version, you can also send it on WhatsApp. It's not available. This is an iPad. So it's not available on the iPad version, but in the Android, you'll have an option to share it.
I want pizza.
When you tap it, you'll have a share icon where you can share it as a message to WhatsApp. So a child can actually send whatever he wants. He can send it as a message to his parents through WhatsApp.
Clear.
Okay. Now at the bottom here on the right, you have what is called the alert button. So this is like calling for attention, and if the parent or the teacher is looking away or is in a different room, the child can always use it to attract attention and call the parent to tell him what he wants. So that is the alert button, and above that you have what is called the core words.
Core words.
So if you tap the core words button, you can see that there is a bunch of words which are all, it has all the colors. As I said, we use the official color code, which is part of speech based. So you have a lot of parts of speech in this folder. It contains almost everything except nouns. It has prepositions, pronouns, all of them constitutes what is called the core words. Now, core words are nothing but simple words that are used 80% of the time that we talk. Most of the words that we use are core words, and without core words, you cannot form a sentence. So it's very important, and our focus is also on core words.
Core words.
Where we ensure that you can access core words very easily, because it's very important for language development. And we do encourage the use of core words in communicating with the child. So let me take you through some of the settings that we have. If you tap on the top right, there is a settings option here, which is now turned red. So if you scroll down here, you will see, you can see picture box settings. You can turn off the message box. So if I turn it off, you will see that the whole thing goes off. And I can, so this kind of reduces the clutter. I can even reduce the caption size. So I can even select no caption, only images. So this is a very simplified screen so that the child, for a child who's getting introduced to AAC, there's no clutter on the screen. Now I'm introducing that back, which is, so I can change the size of text to small, medium, or large. So as I keep increasing the text size, the image size reduces. And it's also a good way to transition from pictures to text. And I can also use only text, which means the entire app becomes only text instead of images. Or I can go back to medium for the sake of the demo. So that is the caption size. That is the setting to use. And this was the message box setting that I had used. I'm inserting it back. Now I can also change, I can remove the pictures from message box. I can change the pictures per screen. Okay, so I can start with as low as 1 picture. I can start with 2 pictures, 3 pictures, 4 pictures, and you can see it quickly how it changes and how to use it. So it's very easy. I can go all the way up to 77 pictures, though we recommend that you start off with 15. So, also, as you can see, for children who have difficulty with visual impairment, I can turn on a contrast mode. So this is high contrast, and this helps because the picture stands out in comparison with the background. I can turn it off now, and then we have a color coding. So color coding is a visual support. So wherever we've introduced an option for visual support, we have an option to withdraw the support as well. It's called prompt fading. So the prompt will be faded because we don't want the child to remain dependent on the prompt forever. So we have an option where you can color code it as a stripe, which means it's faded away to some extent, though there is a small hint of a hue there. Or you can say don't color code at all, which means there is no dependence on any kind of color code. So I'm introducing this back. So that is the color code option where you can fade away the prompt. Now we have something called zoom on select, and this is on by default. So if I want to say
8.
if I want
Basic.
to say I can zoom it out. That means it enlarges. So as it enlarges,
Want.
It's a good idea to use this option to zoom when you're introducing the child in the beginning to AAC and he has not used something like this before. So it kind of holds his attention. Second is it's useful for those who have hearing impairment and visual impairment. Visual impairment because there's an enlargement, hearing impairment because there's a visual feedback. So in all these cases, the zoom does offer a visual reinforcement. So it's always useful to get started with it and then remove it. So as I said, wherever we have a visual reinforcement, we have a way by which you can remove the reinforcement. So you can turn it off. You can even change the slowness or the speed of the zoom, or you can turn it off completely. So I'm turning it off for the sake of the demo. Next, we have an option for page swipe. So children who have difficulties with their hand movement, the fine motor control, if they have an issue, you can turn off the page swipe, which means because sometimes it does result in accidental swipes or scrolls of the screen, and you don't want that to happen. So for children who have difficulties with fine motor control, you set the setting to page swipe off, and in which case on the right panel, if you see, the page up and page down keys have come in place of the alert and the mistake buttons. So you can now
Page down.
Unless the child uses these two buttons, the page does not scroll. So this prevents accidental scrolls while the child is trying to select an item. So I'm turning it back again. Okay, so that was a page swipe. And here we can, when you scroll down, you will also see what to speak option. So here by default, it speaks everything. That means whatever I tap is spoken, but I can choose to speak only words, which means it will not speak out what is there in the folder. So for example, initially it will speak I want, and then it spoke things. But now I can mute the folder for things. Once the child learns that he can tap that folder to enter it, I can mute it to say, I want to mute all folder level, because he's now, as he moves, progresses in his language, because it's kind of distracting when you have the folder name being read out in the middle. So if you mute it, then the child's formation of the sentence remains intact in his mind, and he's not distracted with other names that come up in the middle. So you can then say, I want bottle.
Bottle.
So it goes like I want bottle.
bottle,
So that the word things doesn't come in the middle with an audio. Okay. We also have an option in settings to set the password, and I'll come to the rest of the settings a little later. So there is a password that you can set up here for settings and edit, because sometimes the child tends to move around settings and edit. So this helps prevent access to that. Okay, if you have any questions, please send in a question in the question mark panel, in the question panel. Okay, I'm moving on to edit mode on top. If you can see the red button. Now, this is the most important part of Avaz, which is the customization. So I'm going into the basic folder, and let's say we want to customize. We'll start with the pick folder. Okay, so let's start with about me. So when you double tap, it goes in, and the customization is meant to be done by the caregiver or the parent. So we can start with the child's name first. So let's say we change it. My name is ... So let's say we call this, my name is, let's say Kumar. Okay. And here at the bottom, so that is the name, and I can change the image here. I can put in my child's photo. So here you have symbols or you have a web. We don't want to get into the web. Sorry, I pressed it by mistake. But my name is Kumar is what has come from the web, but we don't want that. I want to take a look at the photos and images that I already have. So let's say I have a photo of the child, and I can just say this. Okay, so it is, so I can take a smaller photo and use it appropriately, and I can just save it. I can also see what it has to,
My name is Kumar.
See, now if I hear this at the bottom, this one, I can hear what it has to say. So if I tap the speak button,
My name is Kumar.
see, you can make out that it's not pronouncing the word correctly. So this happens in a lot of cases where the pronunciation may be slightly distorted, in which case you can actually write out what you wanted to speak. You can say, my name is, and you can use a phonetic spell. So instead of Kumar, you can just write KU space MAR.
My name is Kumar.
It says Kumar, so maybe you don't want it. It's still not, the Mar sounds better, but it's still not ideal. So I can just overwrite it with my recorded voice. I can tap the record button here, the red button, to record my voice. My name is Kumar, and stop it. And then I can play it with the play button. My name is Kumar. So it was really quick, and I can just save it. Right? So now when I come out of this, I tap the edit mode to come out of the edit mode. And when I tap the icon, my name is Kumar. So that's how simple it is to just record your voice for anything that is not, where the pronunciations are not accurate. Now, I'll show you how we can do further customization and personalization. So you can add, I can go back into edit mode, and I can tap this and I can change it. And here I can even take a photo. So let's say I have a photo of the child. So let's say here, this is a photo. This is the same photo. I can just say use the photo. So I can, so let's assume that this was a large size. So I can then just save this photograph if I have, or I can, take the picture from a camera. So I can either take from a camera or I can take from the gallery. My name is Kumar. Yeah. So I can go into change. And yeah, come out of that. Okay, now let's say, so this is how you can customize and add pictures from your gallery or take photographs, and also record your voice. Now let's say you want to add a new item and you want to check whether it's there or not. Let's say his favorite items that he wants to eat. You go to a restaurant and you want to buy something for him. So let's say we want to search for kulfi, whether it's present. So I can just search here on the top to say, okay, is kulfi there? I don't see it. If I look for ice creams, yeah, so ice creams are there, but there is no kulfi. And in sweets also, there is no kulfi. So when you search, you can just tap on the top magnifying glass to search for what you want. So, and then you have a list of what is found here. So here, as you can see on the right, as you scroll up, you can see the path. You can even tap it to see the path, or you go to the folder directly. So this is a folder, which is an ice cream folder. Or you have all these options, which are what ice creams, ice cubes, ice cream bar, etc. And when you say see path, it actually shows you the path how to reach there, like here. It tells you where to go back, and then it prompts you with that you have to scroll up and it tap here. So it actually takes you through a visual guide of how to reach that place where you have ice creams. What ice creams? Okay, so that is how you use the search button on the top. Now, let's say we want to add our own folder. This is one of the most important parts of customizing. So you go to the edit mode, tap the pencil icon, and let's go to the home screen and basic. Okay, now I want to add a new folder. So let me add a new category. A category is a folder. So let's say I want to say my favorite restaurant. Okay, so let's call it favorite restaurant, or I'll just call it restaurant. Okay, so now this is the restaurant. So as soon as I type restaurant, it shows me this icon from the symbol sticks library. Now, when you see the symbols, this has all the symbols from a symbol sticks library, which has about 15,000 images and symbols, and you can actually scroll through different restaurant images to see which one you want to use. Okay, this is inbuilt. This is the library of images that we offer. So let's say we take this as the restaurant. Now I just do a save, and I can actually use this color code to either choose any of these backgrounds, or so each one stands for, like, this is things, this is actions, pink is phrases, yellow is people, purple is places, etc. And I can choose the X icon on the rightmost, which says no color, which is the default color. I can save it. So this is now created one called restaurant. And if I double tap it and get into it, now I can add my basic items. So let's say I add a new message. That is a message that I add. I can add what is like a burger. Let's say I like a burger. So I can just add burger and I say next. Okay, so this is a burger, and I can now scroll through burger pictures here. So let's say I like this, and I can say save. Now, instead of adding one by one, I can also do another thing. I can add many items together. So which makes it much easier. So I can add, like, let's say pizza, comma, kulfi, comma, and let's say you're going to order it. So you'll order 1 or 2. And let's say I order some even idli or chips. So I just have to put comma separated, and I can keep adding. Then I can say big or small. Okay, so I can say all of these. Okay, so I can just say okay. Now you can see in just a few seconds it has added all the items, and how quickly it has added it, because all these are available in the library. Now I can rearrange these by just moving these around, because I want 1 and 2 first. Like, what do I want? I want burger, pizza, these, idli. So I just have it vertically aligned. Now kulfi, it didn't find the image because it is not there in our library. So I can still search for it. So I can just tap on kulfi. I can go to change, and I can search for the web option here. Can you see this? Instead of symbols, I can say web. So what this does is it searches on the web to look for kulfi images. So this is really useful because sometimes you may not have kulfi available with you to click an image, or you may not have it in your gallery. So you can just quickly scroll through the web. So here you don't have to get out of Avaz and then go into Google and then search and then download it, load it in your gallery and then upload it. Instead, you can do all of those in just one step, which is just tapping the web option and finding the word you want. Now you can just save it. So this is now saving as Kulfi. And it's very easy to also move these around. As I showed you, you just hold one down. You just tap it to hold it, and it'll enlarge and become slightly transparent, and you can move it around anywhere in the page. This is taking a little longer than usual, but normally it just takes a few seconds. Maybe there's an internet connection issue. But otherwise, it should just take a few seconds to save. It's for some reason hanging. Okay, it's finally saved it. So there you are. That is Kulfi. And so as I said, you can move these around. You just have to tap it and hold it around, and you can move these around very easily. Now I can tap a bunch. So maybe I don't want to introduce all of them at the same time. I can just tap a bunch of them and say I want to hide them. So when I tap it, they get selected. Then I tap the hide button on the right panel. This is in the edit mode. And when I come out of edit mode by tapping the edit button, it is hidden from the child's view, but it still remains in your. So I go back to it and it comes back. They're all grayed out. It still remains. And I can also choose them and I can say show them, show. So this then brings it back to the child's view. And I can also tap and I can do a copy. And I can go back and then paste it anywhere I want to. So it is now pasted it in the main screen. So I can then choose them all and I can delete it again. So this is the basic customization. I also have an option to print. So I can go to the basic folder. Let's say I go to the eat folder. Now here we have a bunch of breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, etc. So there is an option here in the edit button called print. Now this is a really powerful feature. So when I tap the print folder, this actually creates a book with the category, which means it creates a digital form of the Avaz vocabulary, which can be printed out as a book. So I can tap the make an Avaz book with this category option. And what this does is it converts this particular folder and all the subfolders and items into an Avaz book. So as you can scroll, you can see each page, each folder becomes a new page. For example, this is breakfast page. This is lunch and dinner page. This is snacks page. This is snacks. This is fruits, etc. So each of these becomes a folder. Each folder comes into a new page, and as you can see in this first page, it also shows you the index as to which page is what folder available in. And you can actually tap this. When you tap it, when you tap it, it shows you the mail icon on the top, and when I tap the mail icon, it actually converts it to a PDF, and you can send it as a mail to yourself or to the parent for a printout. And when you take a printout, you can then laminate it and store it as a hard copy. And it's always useful to keep a hard copy of the Avaz content, because sometimes your Avaz is not available or the iPad is charging in a different room. And so because of these reasons, you don't want your child not to have access to Avaz, because that is his voice. So to ensure 24/7 access for the content at all times of the day, it's always useful to take a hard copy backup and to laminate it and to file it into his communication chart or communication file. The print option below, in the same print option, you also have an option to export a category. So you can export a category via Dropbox. Now to export and import, it's like you can take a particular folder and the whole folder gets exported. So it's like a backup. And it gets stored in your, so here you have export, and so this is, so it gets exported as eat. Okay, so this is your food when you say okay. it gets stored as an exported folder. Now, in the same context, I would like to take you through the settings where you go to backup and restore. And it's important to create a new backup so that once you've customized all your stuff, you can always back up the whole thing. So what a backup does is you can take a backup on, say, today's date, and mine is actually quite full, so I'm not taking today's date. I'm just showing you how to do it. But it'll actually show you like this. It'll take a backup, and you can change the name. You can change it and set it to whatever you want. So once you're done with the customization, it's a good idea to keep a backup, because in case of wanting to retrieve an earlier version, you can always retrieve it. And also it's useful to back up the content into the cloud, for which you need this in the first place. And then you go to this option where you say connect to Dropbox. Now, if you're not familiar with Dropbox, it's a way by which you can store all your content. I'm not, so I can say open Dropbox, and this actually connects to Dropbox. So I'm not connecting to Dropbox because it's giving a problem right now. But then it allows you to store your content in the cloud, which means the content is not residing on your device alone. So in the event of any problem with the device, a lot of times parents get back to us saying that, oh, the device had to be formatted, now I've lost all the content. So to prevent such a thing from happening, you just move the content and store it as a backup in the cloud, and which is through Dropbox. So the way to do it is you go to backup and restore and connect to Dropbox. If you don't have a Dropbox account, please create one with a new account. And it's useful to always bring it back. If there's a problem with your computer, you can always bring it back from the Dropbox. So it's a very useful thing to have, and something that you must ensure. Now, moving on to the keyboard mode. So this is all about the picture mode. Now I'm moving on to the keyboard mode. You have to tap the keyboard button on the top left corner. This takes you to the keyboard mode. So let's say I want to talk, I want to type a sentence. I can say I. So let me go back to settings and say speak everything. What to speak? Speak everything, so that you know what you're tapping. So I can say
Delete word. W A.
So when I tap W, you can see that these words are all changing, that these are all the predicted words, WA, starting with WA, and here's the word I want. So I can use
Want.
I want. So let's say I want to say pizza.
P I Z.
So when I tap, I don't have to type all the words, all the letters. So even when I tap PIZ, I get the word pizza.
Pizza.
So let's say I want to say I wanted pizza. I can even do that. Now all these words are, you can see that they are being predicted after I type a word. So I can even say I want pizza with something, or I want a pizza dough. So you can see that they're all relevant to pizza. So this is called, this prediction is quite advanced, and it's a phrase-based prediction. I want pizza parlor, or, so all of these words, I want Pizza Hut. So all of these are similar, are useful for forming a sentence. So the child doesn't have to type all the words.
Clear.
So let's say you want to say, I want to go to school.
I space.
Okay.
W A.
So you can see how it
Want.
I want to. You can see how the next word is being predicted. I want to. I want to go. I want to know. I want to do. Okay. So let's say I want to say I want to go. I want to go. Then you say I want to go to. I want to go home. I want to go out. So all these options are possible. So I want to go to school. I want to go to school. I want to go to college. I want to go to even what. I want to go to work. So all these are very, very
school
relevant words that's being predicted. So the child can very easily form a sentence because the prediction is very powerful. And I tap the
I want
box.
to go to school.
So this is how I can use the prediction.
Delete word. Clear.
This is how I can use the prediction to form a sentence. Now, if I want, let's say I want to say I want to go to the beach, and that's a favorite place that I want to go to.
Space.
Okay. Or let's say I want pizza.
N.
Sorry, I want.
Want. P I Z. Pizza.
Okay. So let's say I want to store this because I want to use it frequently. I want pizza. I can just say save.
Save.
And I can save it in like, let's say P. I just tap P and it gets saved there. Now when I say load,
Load.
now P is shows it as red, which means it has got some words. So I can just bring it back.
Clear.
So I can save it. So whatever is in the, I can do an undo to bring back what is here after a delete.
Clear.
And double tap to clear. So I can always load.
Load.
And, these words, these alphabets have something stored in them which are red in color. If I tap the S, I want to go to school. So S for school, that's what has been saved.
Clear.
And P for pizza. So it's just something that will help you remember what has been stored there. So whenever you fill the sentence box and you tap save.
Save.
And then whatever is empty, that means you can save your sentence in any of these alphabets or numbers. Or I can even store it in these yes, no, thank you, how are you. Those are called quick keys or quick reference keys because it's for quick recall. So I can even program these to have something else. So let's say you want to say, I want water. So I can just quickly say,
I want W-A-T, water.
And I can just save that. So I can say save.
Save.
And I can tap it in. It's already got I want water. Okay, so let's say I want
water.
So let's say I want to say I want milk.
Delete
or
word.
I want juice.
Juice.
I want juice. So I can just tap save.
Save.
And save it in instead of this. Okay, so now this is a
clear.
This is a quick reference. I can just tap it anytime. It will not show the pictures in the message box, but it will just speak it out.
I want juice.
So that is what it's useful for a quick answer. Yes, no. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it doesn't disrupt whatever's on the screen and would be a quick response to anybody who's asking you a question, or if you want to ask a question without disrupting what is on your screen. Now we also have a very powerful feature in this. One of the times that we went to school, to a school, and a child was trying to spell the word ocean with O-S-H.
S-H.
And he found that he couldn't get the word ocean being predicted here. So we figured that we could use technology to actually solve his problem. And we used what is called a phonetic spell check. And here we have the word ocean being prompted.
Ocean.
So this is actually called a phonetic spell check.
Clear.
Which finds the words phonetically. So even if the child is trying to spell the word knife with N-I-F-E, the word knife, K-N-I-F-E, is also prompted. So this is what is called phonetic spell and recognition. So it is a powerful feature to help those with poor spelling.
Clear.
So if you go back to settings, there are some more settings related to the picture mode. And so here it is, you go into keyboard settings, into the keyboard mode. I can turn off prediction because prediction is again a visual support. So I have an option to either turn off prediction completely, in which case there'll be no prediction, or I can turn off the pictures. So there'll be only words predicted. And in fact, prediction with pictures is one of our really unique features, which is not there in other apps. And it is something that users find extremely useful and powerful because it's very easy for children to identify it, and it serves as a good transition to move from pictures to keyboard. You can also turn off the next word prediction, current word prediction, phonetic match. So each of these can be turned off independently. And another important one is to set a delay of, let's say, 4 to 5 seconds. So what this does is, so if I've introduced a delay in prediction, when I spell pizza, P-I-Z, now it will wait for 5 seconds before it prompts me with pizza picture. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there you are, the word pizza is now predicted. Similarly, if I want to spell water,
clear, W-A-T,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you are, water.
Water.
Okay, so this is how it sets up a delay in prediction, so that this gives the child an option to try it out for himself. So, and if he doesn't get it, then it prompts him. So that is the delayed prediction. And I can also turn off the speak action keys. So these are all like, it won't, when I move from pictures to keyboard, or I tap the home button, or I tap code words button, it doesn't speak it out. So that is the speak action keys, this option. And there's also a grammar setting. So here I can turn on grammar. This is for more advanced usage. So if I want to say I wanted, okay, so I go here, I go to home.
Home. Basic.
Let's say I wanted something.
Delete.
I
want.
Now I can say wanted,
Wanted. Want. Wants. Wanting. Will want.
So I can use all of these forms to introduce the child to various forms of the word. So like verbs, the various tenses of the verbs, or I can, for things, I can say
things
like singular, plural, which are different
ball.
Forms of the word ball, balls, or bottles. Or I can go
Delete.
back.
Go
and
back.
I can go to adjectives. It will show
Big,
me simple,
small,
comparative, and superlative forms.
big.
So I say big. So I will want bigger,
Bigger.
biggest.
Go back.
So I can go back to things.
Things. Bottle. Bottles. I will want biggest bottles.
So this is how the child can then learn grammar and the various forms. You also have
Clear.
a help button on the top right corner. This gives you access to FAQs that are frequently asked questions, which is links to our website, and you'll need internet for that. The rest of the time, you don't need internet. You also have explain the screen. So if you're stuck anytime, you can just tap explain the screen, and it will show you all the different buttons in the screen for a quick overview. And you also have a chat facility to chat with us anytime. Now, besides this, you have what is called on the top corner or next to Avaz, right on top, you have the dashboard. Now, the dashboard is something that I would definitely urge you to take a look at, because it's extremely useful to the parent or the caregiver to understand what are strategies and to get a lot of tips and ideas about how to implement communication at home. You can see that this has a bunch of activities, which are today activities like having a mealtime conversation, discussing what happened in school, conversation about pain, reading a book, watching TV, all of these. So all of these are day-to-day activities. And if you tap any of them, there are two sections in each of them. One is called practice now and one is called learn strategies. When you tap practice now, it shows you a bunch of practice sentences. So let's say you want to say, and each of these are related to mealtime conversations. So, and let's say, let's eat breakfast. If you tap that, it shows you how to actually learn where to find the different words. So it's like a practice session for the caregiver. So it tells you now tap the core words button.
Core words.
To find the word eat. So I have to scroll, and it says here you can find the word eat. So I tap the word eat. So it's actually a guided practice.
Home.
It says tap the home button, and I tap home, and then it shakes the
advanced
folder to say for the word
eat
breakfast. So if I go to the eat folder, and then I can say
getting ready to eat.
So I can
breakfast.
So this is how it tells me where to find what word in the vocabulary. So it's so if I just go through this, if I just scroll to the right, it shows me the next set of 6 sentences and then another set of 6 sentences. So each of these activities has like about 18 sentences. And I can do a practice of each of these 18 to understand where to find what words. And then there's the next part, which is called Let's Learn Strategies. And this is about actually teaching strategies to the parent, because in India, we don't have easy access to speech therapists. And so this is an effort, an attempt to actually help the parent to bridge the gap between the app and the speech therapist, so that the parent can actually get to try things on their own, even if they don't have that much time given to them, to their child with the speech therapist. So if you say, let's start. So this is actually a scenario where we present you with a game with options that you can see. So in the top, it says it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Johnny is in the kitchen. How do you have a conversation with him? And you have to scroll to see the options. Do you say, isn't it a beautiful, lovely morning? Or do you say, good morning, Johnny? Or do you say, hi, Johnny, I was wondering if you slept well last night. And if I tap this as an option to select, then he's looking sad. And we give you a hint on top saying, try using direct and simple sentences rather than long-winded ones. Then if you say, good morning, Johnny, he brightens up because he understands that. And we say the greetings are a great opportunity for communication. And then we give you the next question. Do you want sandwiches, pancakes? Or do you say, I have apples, oranges, sandwiches, and pancakes. Which one do you want? So if I tap that, he's looking confused. So we say providing too many choices can be confusing for Johnny. Remember, he's just beginning to communicate. So in this way, we have a bunch of sentences. So if you say now, if you say, you want sandwiches or pancakes, he's very happy because we say, we give you a tip on top. Giving him a choice between two items is a good way to start. Offering him the choice of something different gives him a chance to express a preference outside these choices given to him. So in this way, you can go through these. It's like a game and it's very interesting to play. And it would be really useful if you go through all of these activities, both the practice now sessions and the strategy sessions. It would really help you get started more quickly because it will help you understand how you can actually start using and implementing Avaz at home. So this here, if you tap here, you go back to Avaz. So before that, I would also like to tell you that here you have my sentences where you can create your own sentences and it will help you model it. So it's like, hi, how are you today? If you create a sentence, it will show you the path on how to reach that. So it will say, go to getting started.
Getting started.
And say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so it actually guides you through the practice. So let me exit this. This is my sentences. Then you have analytics, which actually shows you the kind of words that your child has used or spoken during a particular time. So these are the words that he's used. You can see different formats and graphs. And then we have a resources where we have a bunch of tips you can scroll through. There are about 200 tips given out here. It's like give your child time to respond, wait for at least 10 seconds. That is a tip. It's a very useful tip. And use simple short sentences. Listen carefully. Take the focus of getting your child to talk. Don't ask your child to say words. Don't say like, say this, say this, say this. So these are things that are tips that are important to be kept in mind. We also have a tab called research, where if you scroll through, we put together a lot of research papers and articles that we thought will be useful from implementing AAC, for implementing AAC. So anything that is useful in terms of strategies, in terms of how to handle it, whether it's communication breakdown, repair, motivating communication, we put all of them together. If you have the time, please go through it. There are many of them which are very useful. And then you tap the go back to Avaz button to get back to Avaz. So it's a very simple interface to toggle between the two. So this brings me to the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I hope you found the session useful. Okay, here's a question from Kala. We are using Avaz with not much results. Are we supposed to start afresh or can we still try? Of course, we don't know many features. Okay, so Kala, I would urge you to go through this dashboard feature that I just mentioned because you know how to use it. You will, the best way that we always recommend is to do what is called modeling. Modeling is where you start using Avaz with your child because you cannot expect him to know how to use it unless you use it in front of him so that he feels that he understands what you're doing. So whenever you speak to him, and please speak to him, create opportunities to speak to him, and whatever you speak to him, please use Avaz to speak. So unless you use it and you show him how you're using it, he will not learn. We have a lot of resources on our website. Please go through it. It's not that, even if you've not got results so far, don't worry about it. You can definitely try again and come back to it. Please go through our the resources that we have on our website. There is a particular one. One is we have, please attend the next webinar that we have, which is in 2 weeks time, called Getting Started with Avaz, where we tell you how to start using core words for language development, and some of the strategies called modeling and prompting. How do you use all of those with your child? So it's possible that you can use different strategies, and I'm sure it will definitely help. I hope you found this session useful in trying to use Avaz with the different features that are available. In our FAQ, in our website, there is a page called support. There you can also look for what is called Lauren Ender's webinar, LAUREN-ENDERS. You can look through her webinars. We had put together during the October month. So please go through her webinars. I'm sure you'll find it very useful to get started. And I'm sure you'll have good results with your child. And I would love to hear about it. So please do keep us informed about it. Any other questions? I hope you found it useful. I would like you to take a poll to say whether you found it useful or how did you find the. So it would be on your screen. How likely are you to recommend the webinar to other parents? So please give us your honest feedback about it, because this will help us improve our webinars. And if you have anything to add, if you feel you would like us to address something else, or if you expected something else, please do type it in your question panel so that we get to understand if you have any requirements that were not met, or if you have something else to suggest. Okay, thank you so much for attending, and please do send in your responses. Any other questions? Otherwise, we can close the session. Please do complete the poll so that it's useful for us to get the feedback. If you have anything else to add, please add it in the question panel. Okay, thank you so much. I think there's one more person who's not yet voted. Can you please go ahead and complete it so that we can then close the poll? Okay, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great day. Bye-bye.